Good evening and welcome to Artist Talk on Art. I'm Doug Shear, President. I want to mention before we start tonight's panel, which looks like a fantastic one, and before I turn things over to Miriam, it is the 50th anniversary of Artist Talk on Art. Over that time, we have presented almost 9,000 artists in 1,100 recorded talks, both dialogues and panels. And that collection resides at the Archives of American Art of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington. But there are two very exciting things that are related to the 50th anniversary, which I'd like to tell you just a little bit about. The first is a gala that is being held on Monday, May 20th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Soho Photo Gallery in Tribeca, which incidentally is a place where we spent several years in the past, I think like late 80s, early 90s. And there are several honorees that are of merit that are both achieving fantastic things, or have achieved fantastic things in the art world. And we are giving them both Lifetime Achievement Awards that night. So we're honoring Liza Kerwin, the Deputy Director Emeritus of Archives of American Art, who actually also served as the acting director for several years after the departure of Kate Haw, who left to go to the National Gallery. So we've had a number of years of experience with Liza, and we've chosen to honor her. And I will actually be giving that presentation myself. I'm acting as the MC of the event. The other honoree is Gail Levin, who is a distinguished professor at the CUNY Graduate Center in New York. Most of you would know Gail as the leading authority worldwide on the art and lives of Joe and Edward Hopper, and also the definitive biographer of Edward Hopper. She edited and produced the catalog raisonné of the Hoppers. Additionally, she is an expert on the work of Judy Chicago, who she also has written a biography on. Wonderful book. And she has also done the definitive biography of the artist Lee Krasner. And that award is being presented by Helen Harrison, who recently retired as the director of the Pollock Krasner House. Someone who has also appeared at Artist Talk on Art, as has Gail. What can I say about the event except that it's going to be exciting. If you're into networking, as I know you are, those of you who are appearing tonight, and also probably a lot of people in the audience, it's a fantastic networking opportunity. The place will be crawling with artists, including myself, a number of art writers, editors, art curators. It's an exciting opportunity for you as well as for us. The other thing I'd like to tell you about is an art auction. So it's our 50th anniversary auction, which is being hosted on the Bid Square platform, which has over 200,000 registered bidders, of about 50,000 of whom have frequently bid on art. We are asking for art donations, and I should emphasize that you're really only donating if the work is sold. If it's not, it still remains in your hands. It's a virtual auction. The purpose of the auction, so you know where the money would go, is to help us operate Artist Talk on Art for probably another 4 or 5 years. And in addition, we're working on a legacy publication slated for 2025, which will reprise in synopsis form approximately 100 of the 1,100 events, sort of our greatest hits, I guess would be a way of looking at it. And that will be divided into the 6 decades in which Artist Talk on Art flourished. There are already 84 lots in this auction. many well-known names. You'd be in fantastic company. And you get to set the value and also the reserve price. So nobody's going to sell, if you're putting in a $1,000 work, nobody's going to be selling it for $10. You get to set the parameters of how you're perceived as well as the pricing and the reserve. And that's my pitch to you. We would love you to join what I think is a really stellar group of artists who are already in it. I hope you have a fantastic panel. I'm going to enjoy watching it tonight and listening to it. And now, Miriam Deutsch, please take over.
Thank you, Doug. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Artist Talk on Art on Monday, April 29th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Miriam Deutsch, the ATOA Programming Director. Tonight, we are so pleased to have an open-ended discussion between artists and gallerists about how the art gallery as a means of promoting artists has evolved due to the rise of social media. The panelists will discuss their perspectives towards the do-it-yourself style of promotion made possible through social media and how it differs both negatively and positively from promotion via the gallery. Tonight's panelists include Jeannine Bardo, who is an artist, curator, and arts educator. She is the founder and artistic director of Stand4 Gallery and Community Arts Center in Brooklyn, New York. Bardo received her BFA in illustration from the School of Visual Arts and has completed both a master's in art education and a master's in fine arts from Brooklyn College. She is a multidisciplinary artist with a focus on humanities connections to the natural world. Bardo has over 10 years of experience as a curator in both public and private realms. Josiah Ellner is a Chicago-based artist who received his Master of Fine Arts in Painting and Drawing from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Ellner was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but spent his formative years in China. Growing up in a city of more than 8 million people with scarce green spaces and little to no wildlife, he has always felt a disconnect from the natural world. Despite these feelings of alienation, he's found himself strangely drawn to nature and yearning to reconnect with it. Through his careful abstraction, he is able to heighten and fully portray the whimsical, awkward, and spiritual interactions that he has with the natural world. Anne Trauben is an artist, director, and curator of drawing rooms. Trauben received her BA in studio art from Arizona State University and an MFA in ceramics from Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Her work has been shown nationally and internationally. In 2013, she became one of the founding artists of Drawing Rooms, a nonprofit art gallery and center located in Jersey City, New Jersey. And since 2014, Trauben has served Drawing Rooms as its gallery director and curator. And we'll also be joined by Shihui Zhou, a visual and textile artist, as well as the director and founder of Latitude Gallery in Manhattan. She has extensive professional experience in the arts and fashion industries. Zhou earned her BFA in fashion design from Tsinghua University in Beijing, and later an MFA from the Art Institute of Chicago. She has completed artist residencies at the Textile Arts Center and the Shama, both in New York City. So with that, let's begin our panel. I'll turn it over to Anne.
Wait. Someone may have two devices going.
Yeah, if everyone could mute themselves. So, Anne, if she's not ready, Josiah, would you like to begin?
Hi, Miriam, I am ready. Sorry about that.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Sorry, we're having technical today. Anyway, So thank you for coming up with the idea of this panel, which is really important. So talking about social media as artists and as curators and gallery directors. So I wanted to start off by having everybody introduce themselves a little bit more personally and talk about their galleries or their work in relation to social media. And then from there, we can delve a little deeper with some questions. So if it's okay, I'll start with myself as letter A. So, all right, well, my name is Trauben, and I am an artist, and I'm also the curator and gallery director at Drawing Rooms, and I've been here since 2013. In 2014, I've been the curator and gallery director. And we are a small organization, really two of us running the gallery. And we have a lot of other programs that we do besides the gallery. We used to have an intern working with us, and the intern was fabulous and used to do our social media. And then I think we did Facebook and he did Instagram. We since don't do as much Facebook and much more Instagram, and I took over and had to learn a lot, and I'm still learning, but there are a lot of things that I now know, good strategies about Instagram, and it's the primary platform that we use. That's what I want to say now. So maybe we could go now into Jeannine, if you want to. Oh, and our gallery is drawingrooms.org, but on social media, we're drawingrooms_JC. Jeannine, if you'd like to talk a little bit about Stand4. Is Jeannine there? Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
I got it. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeannine Bardo, and I am the founder and director of Stand4 Gallery. And Stand4 is located in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. And I started it in 2017. It's an artist-run initiative. And the mission of Stand is to bring visual arts programming to the center of the community and to serve as a catalyst to create a socially and environmentally just and sustainable future, inclusive of community voices and inspired by local interest. So Stand4 Gallery has a very, very strong community aspect to it. And I actually started the gallery so that I can bring fine art into the community of Bay Ridge, which has really lacks arts programming. And and when it comes to the social media, when I first started, I wasn't using Instagram as much. I was using Facebook a lot more. Facebook has become very unwieldy, and I don't use it anymore at all. In fact, I've left it almost. I didn't mean to divorce from it, but I did naturally. And right now I have on the I can show you my screen, just show you the my Instagram account. Let's see. I'll just share my screen and show you the Instagram account that I have for Stand4. And these are some recent posts, and I'm pretty active on it. So when I have a show, I'll do at least like I'll do like two per week maybe when I have a show, and if we have programming, I'll do some posts on that. And or if there are some artists things are happening with the artist, I'll post that information. But over the course of a few years, I've had a lot of artists come through the gallery, a lot of really great programming. And I've been very lucky because, sorry. Now I have to stop sharing. Okay. So, and I've been very lucky that with the artists that have come through my gallery, because they've also brought more and more artists into the gallery. So to say with the Instagram being the easiest way for me to communicate with people. And then I also have a mailing list. So I'll talk about that, and I think I'm going to let go to, I think I'll let Sophia go next because I know she has a presentation. Is that correct? She has
Yes.
a, okay.
So let me share screen first to let's see. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to do the here we go. Share. So can everybody see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
So this is me. My name is Sophie. I'm the artist and founder of Latitude Gallery, and this is our Instagram handle on the left side. And then I'm an artist to begin with, and so that's why the gallery at first was artist run gallery in the first year. We were in I'm sorry about the noise. My son is in the hallway, but I'm a textile artist. I started to show after my graduation 2018, and then realized that actually a lot of Asian artists didn't really get as many opportunity that like I got, because I got the residency programs. We had like artist network system going on, and then I started to show people in my living room in Williamsburg 2020 January. I had I fortunately got this like a loft on the ground floor loft space. And then that was the first kind of phase of the gallery. And then we have website, Instagram, and we also have Artsy and also ArtNet. Kind of it's like this art world social media, or like art world Shopify thingy. And I think I wanted to include that a little bit later. And then I wanted to share a little bit about our, let's see, new share our Instagram, just to help us understand. So we mostly actually use Instagram, and then I could say that at least 30 to 40% of our collectors will engage with us on Instagram, and then we also find our artists on Instagram. Not all of our artists, but some of our artists through Instagram. I think the other panel list, Josiah, artist Josiah, we found Josiah's work on Instagram and have been following him for a while, and then learned that there are some changes with his career, and then we wanted to step in. So I DM'd him, and then we also keep tabs on, or like just keep relationships with artists through Instagram, just checking their stories, checking their posts. I think I will unpack a little bit later, but just to show you guys our followers and our followings, and we have like 5,000 of followings. That means like that's not only like our visitors or some important connections, collectors, but also a lot of artists. Yes, so I will turn the mic to Josiah. I think he wanted to share a little bit about social media and being an artist and navigating with galleries.
Right. Cool. Thank you, Sophie. So my name is Josiah. I'll just do a quick little intro. I recently graduated from the Art Institute of Chicago with my MFA degree. I'm an oil painter. And I believe I was chosen to speak on this panel because a lot of my experiences with, I guess, navigating the art world, navigating showing, has really been through social media, specifically Instagram. So I started showing work towards the end of 2019. So I really only have about 4 or 5 years of showing experience and working in the art world. But for those 5 years that I've been working in the art world, most of all my connections have really stemmed through social media and Instagram. So I do believe that it's a very powerful tool for artists, and I guess also gallerists, just in creating and connecting with more people. But yeah, that's my quick intro. I'll hand it off.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. So I want to ask a question and we'll generate a conversation and we'll see what goes from there. Firstly, everything moves so quickly. It wasn't that long ago that some of us, maybe all of us, really were, maybe like 10 years ago, like, or 15, not on social media so much. Then it was Facebook, and we still did postcards. I guess the point is, I'm wondering, what are all the ways that people market themselves these days? Is it only through social media? Does anybody take out ads anymore? Does anybody make postcards? You know, what are we doing to market ourselves, either as individual artists, because we're all individual artists, and or individual artists and gallerists? So, Sophie, will you start?
So I will share my 2 cents. Recently, the gallery's address been getting a lot of postcards and show cards from artists or different galleries. I think maybe cards, invitations are making a comeback, like in real life. Probably after pandemic, people wanted to see something more physical. But definitely DMs, Instagrams are still the major players for us as like the free marketing method. And then we do like for our gallery, we use a lot of professional marketing tools like ArtLogic, emailing, like mailing lists, and then website subscriptions. I think those are definitely very important for galleries and artists, in my opinion. And then there are other things. I think I guess Facebook, there are still like groups are pretty active. And then some of like smaller organizations or smaller platforms, if you share informations, there are dedicated followers, dedicated people wanted to, you know, get new informations, such as like there are like smaller organizations, for example, like the something called like Project List or something. There are other groups. I can't really think of like those names. I will probably share. I need to like check my website. But yeah, like feel free to like jump in and to add. I think I basically covered like a kind of abstract of the things that our gallery's been encountered.
So it sounds like it's a multi-pronged approach. Do you
Yes,
feel social
that
media is most important, but you also do Facebook groups, which is different than a post? That's a direct marketing. You also, it sounds like you also, maybe you do a newsletter too?
we do
And you-
newsletters. We sometimes will do targeted newsletters for our collectors or media, like writers or media like editors. We will do a different kind of post or emails. And then sometimes for gallery friends and families, we'll do like a general like show information reminder. And then some important like collectors or connections will do personal invites.
Right, okay. And Sophie, are you a commercial gallery?
Yes.
Do you have a staff, or are you doing this all yourself?
We have staffs.
Okay, so you have a few people working with you, so you can divvy up the tasks.
Mostly I will do everything. It depends on like the situation. Our staff are more in charge of the day-to-day, the gallery sitting kind of task.
Mm. Okay. Jeannine, can you tell us about your marketing approach, including social media?
Yeah, I did start off like with a strong presence on Facebook, and Stand had its own page, but I found that Facebook has become very commercial, and every time I would post something, they would tell me they wanted to, it was only going to 4 people, you know, and I had to pay for that. I had to pay for it. And Instagram became so much easier for me to work with. It had a much bigger I was able to connect with a lot more people. And right now, the only thing I'm doing is like kind of putting it on Instagram, and it goes to my personal page. So that was connecting to more people than my stand page. So I really fell off of Facebook, and it's very unwieldy, and it's really not like, it's not what it used to be. I have a great archive on Facebook, which is another thing that I really like about the social media, is that it's really easy to keep an archive, and I'm very grateful for all that I have, all those pictures I have, and they're organized because I'm only doing them, only doing a few, and I'm keeping like a, like a history of it. So that's really nice. And I do have a mailing list that a lot of people, because I am a community space, a lot of people that come through a lot of people from the community are just walking through the door, and they put down their mailing list, and they come back, and some of them are not using, social media, but they really enjoy getting the mailing list, and they come, and they're regulars. They're community members that are regulars. And that took me a long time to get that, because I didn't advertise that much in the community. It was more word of mouth, and because it's difficult, because it is just me, and it is hard to do it. But so the mailing list is great, and so is the Instagram. And I make postcards for every show, and that's more for it's more for the artists, I think, to have the postcards. I really like having the postcards to give people, and people like to take it if it's information that they want to use for the art. And it's also another good archive, like a hard copy that I have, that I'm happy I have that. And then the other, I do make posters. So I have a little thing outside I do have something that I put posters. If I have a big event, like last year I had a big public event, I put posters throughout the community. I could do that all the time, and I could do the postcards all the time, but I'm so busy turning over shows that it works out that I just go by word of mouth, and my social media. So
Jeannine, is Molly with you at all anymore? You doing this
No.
yourself?
Oh, it was always just me. It was always just me.
You're
Yeah.
seriously.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, Jeannine is also an artist with an active art practice, and I am too. Jeannine, it's hard to juggle, right?
Yeah.
Hard to
Yeah.
juggle. All right,
Yeah.
Josiah, can you tell us a little bit about your approaches? You're going to talk specifically as an artist using social media and how you market yourself, and even outside of social media. And then I'll tell you how we do it at Drawing Rooms. So Josiah, would you speak a little?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I think, as I guess one of the panelists, that I don't have a space. I'm just an art, or mainly an artist. I think the word marketing is like an unfortunate term that, something that as individual artists, like, we do have to engage in. And I think every artist enjoys marketing to different levels. I think there are artists who really do enjoy that aspect of their career, and some artists who, they might not even have a social media presence, and they just want to, like, paint in their studio, and they need somebody else to do that. And so a lot of times, thinking again about galleries and spaces that represent artists, they're able to really market their artists so that the artist doesn't have to do that, which, for me personally speaking, I think would be lovely, because I'm one of the artists that I don't necessarily enjoy marketing myself. But when it comes to, I guess, marketing myself, I guess I mostly do that through social media and through my Instagram account. But I don't necessarily see my Instagram account as, like, only a marketing space. It's really just a way for me to show my work to my followers, and also kind of let people know what I've been up to. So it kind of functions as, like, a personal account, because sometimes I do share personal information, but it always is revolving around my art career and what I've been up to. So I would say that's primarily how I would market myself. But I also, I go to shows in person. I connect with people, and I think if anything, speaking as an artist, I think at the end of the day, like going to the shows that you love and connecting with, you know, gallerists or other artists is, at the end of the day, I have found like the most successful way to like market oneself and build relationships that way. But of course, through Instagram, I've also been able to build some sort of like online relationship with some galleries and collectors as well. But yeah, that's mostly how I would go about it.
Just, are you at Mana?
Yes, I am. Or I am not at Mana right now, but my studio is at Mana Contemporary in Chicago.
Oh, in Chicago, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, so
Yeah.
I want to thank you. Thanks. I want to tell you a little bit about drawing rooms, marketing and social media. But before I do that, I want to comment on something that Josiah said that I found to be an excellent strategy. And then I want to talk to us after I tell you all this a little bit about drawing rooms, talk about our strategies here. So Josiah mentioned personal, and what I've found is that people will connect to posts, our drawing room posts, more likely if there's something personal about them. Could be personal about the artist. It could be personal about those of us that run the gallery. If there's a little humor involved, if it's more approachable. I find that to be a really important strategy. And I think that we might, before this, we might have taken a more removed approach. I might have been more comfortable with that sort of a thing, being more removed, but I've found that it's a better approach, and it's a comfortable approach for us to be more personable. And, you know, people connect more to that in our individual accounts, I think, and you all can tell me what you think about this, and also in our drawing rooms posts. So, okay, so our marketing probably used to be, maybe way back, used to be ads, like, because drawing rooms, which is a program of Victory Hall, and Victory Hall, our nonprofit, used to be Victory Hall, the gallery, probably used to have advertisements long before I came here. That's long gone. And so social media. So we started with Facebook. And like Jeannine said, we also have beautiful albums of shows, archives, beautiful. But over time, I found that nobody's looking at them anymore. Nobody's commenting, except for like 4 people, and they're all directly connected to us. And it felt very discouraging to do it. And we were also doing, like I said, Instagram, and our intern was doing that. And we weren't really paying attention to the numbers that we had on Instagram, but we thought, this is great, we've got an account. And so as Facebook starts fading out, our intern went on to get a second master's degree, God bless him. And I focused on Instagram. And so all our Instagram posts go to Facebook also. It's just like, you know, you set it up that way. So it's simple, one post. Still nobody looks at them on Facebook, but they're there. And so it's really mostly Instagram. We also do postcards. We do newsletter. So we take email addresses, and we recently stopped asking people to give us their email address handwritten, because it's very hard to read it. And so they just they click on the QR code, and that works much better. We do postcards, we do posters, mailings.
Not physical mailings.
No, we don't mail postcards. We give out postcards. We try to put them different places. We give them to artists when they come to the show to distribute. And so that's pretty much our thing. So 2 points I want everybody to think about, like, what are your strategies online, and how are your strategies affected by artists that we see on Instagram? Like, does any of that have anything to do with our programming? Because we're all pretty focused on Instagram. So what are our strategies? how are we growing our numbers? Is it important to grow our numbers? What's so important about Instagram? And how are what artists are doing important to what we're doing as to what we're seeing on social media? Hope you can follow that. Sophie, you want to start?
Sure. So we talked a little bit about Instagram, and then I wanted to say that what do you post on Instagram also is very important. I work with lots of artists, and some of them are really like a natural on social medias. That means not only on Instagram, maybe TikTok. Like it could be a trend, or maybe like Instagram now they have this reel thing, like for a short video. And then you were saying that now people are not really interested in getting these catalog, or they don't even want to have another booklet probably at home. It will be pain in the ass to move, although I love collecting some of those. But nowadays we do these like tiny, like short videos on Instagram. And sometimes I will recommend people, like some of my artists, to document maybe how they work, how they created this texture, how they prime their canvas, how they even like kind of like Bob Ross, clean their brush, make these shorter videos and then like collage them together and then make a like small intro and just post it. And a lot of people are actually really interested in you. They will really watch that. And then you will give them a visual like impression how you work. It's not just like a beautiful image. All of a sudden, it took time. It take you like, 5 minutes probably to clean those canvas and to put different kind of like gesso or whatever. Or like to prepare your brush, and people will actually really appreciate your effort. I think that's important. And then now everybody like with account, now it's a channel. So how you engage with people, in love with your work, and what kind of content you wanted to put out for people to remember you as an artist. That's actually not only for our gallery to think about. I also wanted my artists to really think about that as well. I think I wanted just to maybe highlight that, and then to hand it over to maybe Josiah, and to talk about something maybe around this, and then I will come back to like different things to add on. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Sophie said is very interesting. I think specifically thinking about the artist and Instagram and marketing, I think, there's been an interest in, these reels. And again, the Instagram algorithm is always shifting. But recently with, with TikTok becoming more, bigger and bigger, people are much more interested in these reels, these short kind of videos. So I do think that there is a lot of like a more marketing opportunity for artists and also spaces to, engage in these shorter videos. But it is definitely, an interesting thing to think about specifically for the artist, because again, this idea of marketing versus your studio practice, and how much do you want to share of like how you make the work, or so, and Sophie was saying how like some artists are more natural at it. And so there's definitely, I know a lot of artists who have a very large following on their Instagram accounts. And you can, when you look at their Instagram account, it is much more than marketing just their work. It really is marketing who they are, also like their personality, their individualness. Like, I think right now in culture, I think the artist is kind of taking a, I don't know, like entering the limelight. We want to, like, of course, we're interested in the artist's work and what kind of work they're making. But I think right now we're also very interested in who the artist is. Like, what does the artist look like? What does the artist like to do? What are their opinions? So I think it definitely is very interesting to think about marketing your work, but also thinking about marketing like your personality or who you are, which is definitely, again, something that comes more naturally to other artists. And also some, you know, there's a lot of artists that might not necessarily want to even show their faces on their Instagram account and keep it, you know, only their work. But again, when we're thinking about marketing, it might be beneficial for them to maybe once in a while post how they look like or what they're up to, because these are things that I think people want to know about more and more.
Yeah,
But yeah.
just like Anne said, personal connections, right?
I completely agree. And I completely agree. Showing technique, reels are king. Soon as I realized, you show a short reel, you post a story, you will get so many people looking at what you're doing. It's so much more exciting than a still image. And if you include yourself, something funny or something personable, people relate to it. And people love to see technique and they love to see process. It shows the humanness of things, and we're learning, and it's short little bursts, and I think that works really well. Jeannine, what do you think?
I think the reels are very effective. I'm not as good at putting them up as much, and I think what you were saying, Sophie, is a really good thing, like to maybe work with the artist and have them kind of like, if they're good at it and they have you know, that's actually really good advice. You know, maybe somebody is good at that and wants to show their technique or wants to show something about the and they could put it together. And like Josiah was saying, some people don't want to show anything, and they, you know, but like, I do like a page that has like a different things happening on the page, you know, and I know that, you know, people like to know when the opening is, and you know, and also, but they also like to see. I get a lot of like comments and hits when I just show pictures of people gathering, you know, and like when we have an artist talk, you know, it's so great to show that picture of people together, and that's always like that always seems to get a lot of like just comments or just a lot of activity on that one. And I can see why, because it just is like, I think everyone's saying the same thing. It's like connecting and these personal things and people, you know, and just kind of having that, so that you show that you have like this is what the gallery is about, and it's a personal connection. Yeah.
I people is the
Mhm.
common denominator. Like one of our highest rated posts was installing, even installing.
Mm.
People
Mhm.
accept. You know, it's
know.
sort of like you showing your process, even as a gallerist. But Sophie, what Sophie said, having artists do reels, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yes.
Mobilizing the force. Okay, so it
Yeah, I
doesn't
like.
do. That's really good idea.
Yes, so I've been just, you know, figuring out Instagram. It's not like everybody's like natural at it. I can't say that I'm very, very good at it. I often learn it from even younger artists that I worked with. And then some of the artists, I really love their work, and they're like, I'm probably about to do something with them. And then I saw them, oh, maybe they don't really need my help. But honestly, I think they do need a gallery's help. It's a different kind of system. But sometimes they do these reels, they do these short videos, they got thousands and thousands of likes. And then people just feel like connected to how you spend your time, how you use your color pencil, how you like, you know, play with water on the sketches, and even just sketch. And then even the artists look like they just woke up in the morning, they just walked into the studio, and people like to follow their trace. I think
Mhm.
that's something that I recently learned, and I think that's something that I also saw, even like a very big blue chip galleries account. They do these videos, really high quality videos, to see the artist's studio, to see their brushes, how dirty they are, or the floors are, or like how they kind of pour paints around. I think people are really touched by these details, and it's important. And then these are the things probably we are gonna work on. And then also, like Anne said, how to prepare a show, like have meetings, have like these, like, squatting in the gallery and trying to pick things around and trying to see how to hang them. People like these nowadays, and I think those are very cherishable moments that people probably before they don't want to show it to the public. But now I see more and more our visitors, our collectors, they really like to see these behind the scene thing.
I think people like the humanness. They like to see other people, and they like to see the humanness. Of course, we all want to show good work, and we want to see good work, and we want to make good work, but we also like to see people. So I think that's sort of important. So let me ask now, so how, Jeannine and Sophie, do you look at artists' Instagram accounts, and do you ever find artists online, and do what they do on their Instagram accounts, does that affect how you think about the gallery or shows you'd want to do?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So we definitely started with artists around us, artists that I really knew, I'm really familiar with. But a lot of the time I spend on Instagram, I see what artists that I like and who are they following. I think that's also important. And then like to build like a larger network through Instagram, and then I could I am able to talk to them through DMs. I could also just set up studio visits when I'm in their city or I'm around. I think that's definitely changing the game a little bit, like the gallery and the artist's relationship, and balancing that is also challenging. But I could say it's really definitely helpful for me. What do you think, Jeannine?
Yeah, I totally agree. And it is challenging, yes. But I think Instagram is like a calling card now. Like everybody used to have their cards, and and you'd be giving out cards, and there was something you never look back on, and but Instagram is something that I do use a lot, and I'll go back and I'll follow an artist, and and then the nice thing about Instagram is that I really get to see the artist, the work, and I get to see something that they might be doing that might connect to something else that might, bringing artists together. I mean, I curate shows. I don't do when I curate shows, I have found artists on Instagram. I have some in mind that I want to work. It's just a matter of time. Like you said, it's very, a matter of time and putting that all together and getting that. But I do find artists on Instagram. And I also like when artists come to the gallery and talk to me, and we have conversations, and it's like, well, are you on Instagram? And I go to their Instagram account and I remember them. Now, if they gave me a card, I wouldn't remember them. It would be very hard for me to go back and get that. But on the Instagram account, I can look through it. I have a visual, and that's, I guess, how I learn too. It's very visual. But all of a sudden, I can see a little bit about that artist and what they're doing, and ask questions. That's another thing too. I see what's right in front of me. I could ask the artist some questions, and we could, yeah, again, set up studio visits or things like that. So, yes.
So I
So some
wanted to add a little bit. I think, I don't know how many artists are in this audience, but I feel like Instagrams are now like a website to an artist.
exactly where I was going.
Yeah, it's just sometimes people recommend artists. They will send me an email, and then the name has a link that is just directly linked to their Instagram. I think this is just the only thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, I was going to say many artists don't feel the need to, or can't, and still don't feel the need to keep up with websites because of Instagram. Instagram may be the most current thing. It's sort of easy to do and easy to look at a lot, and it's very essential. It's really essential. See, I wanted to ask, well, I wanted to tell you first and then ask the others. So the demographics of the artists that we show in our gallery tend towards probably older, but we're, older, what, 50s, 60s and up, but we're always interested in any age artists above, 18. And we show men, we show women, although I think that there's more women artists that we all come across more than men these days. And what about the rest of you? What happened? What's happening here?
I think I have a bit of a mix. Mine's a mix. Yeah, I'm going back in my head and trying to think about like the demographics of, you know, and it's because it's such a small gallery. I want my demographics to be wider, and just because it's such a small gallery, it's time and space that makes that harder and hard to do. So it's like over the course of maybe 2 years, I can make that happen, or one big show or something like that. But I have a mix of artists. I have different ages, and different, yeah. And that's and that's something I have to work on too, because sometimes some of the work that I like might be more in line to what I do, but I like to show a lot of different artists that are working on different issues, even though a lot of the stuff is about environmental issues, but there are other issues that go with it too. So yeah.
And you show now, yeah, we're gonna get to questions in a minute. And Jeannine, you show local, regional, national, international?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
All of it. We do too. And
Yeah.
Sophie?
We do emerging artists, but for our gallery, we're located in Chinatown, Manhattan, and we mostly show Asian artists at this point, but we are slowly working on broaden our programmings. But for us, mostly Asian artists, and then a lot of them are local. I think like 80% of them are local, live and works in New York. And then emerging and mediums, we don't really have a limitation on mediums. And then I think 40 or 35% of male artists, and then the rest of them are female artists. I think maybe that percentage will change. We don't really have like a guidance or have like a specific rules on the gender and then these kind of things on the artists that we work with. It just happened to be that way.
Yeah, same with us. And despite our name being drawing rooms, we show all media. Depends on the theme of the show and what we're doing. All right, so we're going to do some questions now. So let me get some questions here. Let's see. Do we have any questions? I don't see questions. Oh, if anybody has a question, please leave it in the chat.
There is one up here. Do short videos of yourself. Oh, no, that's a recommendation. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, wait, maybe it's this way. No.
That's a suggestion, not a question.
Right. We would love to have questions if anybody has any. Just leave it in the chat. If not, we can continue talking.
Can I quickly share the rest of my slides? I just wanted to give a little bit, visuals of what we do, and then also including Josiah's work a little bit.
Yes.
I will do it quickly. Just give me a second.
Sure. You could there. Well,
Yeah,
so Sophie, there are some couple questions.
Oh, sure. Let's do the questions first.
Well, Tabor is asking, are there any Instagram no-nos?
For us artists or for artists?
I guess either.
Well, I think that just as if someone presents themselves to the gallery, you can get a sense of their personality. If a personality might come across as unfriendly in some way, depending on something people post, I think they're posting their personality. So you're kind of getting a sense of who they might be. So maybe that might give you an idea of who they are and if you'd want to work with them. Anybody else?
I think if you're using Instagram as like a DM, like sending messages to the gallery sites you like, I guess know the gallery first and then approach them is a little easier than just cold calling.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think do a little homework, know the gallery instead of instead of just sending in a cold look at me or something like that, and engage. And I think that's the best.
Jeannine, do you
And-
also DM artists you're interested in? Sounds like Sophie does that. Sophie, if you see an artist whose work you're interested in, you'll just contact them through Instagram message and
Yes.
DM. Yeah, and say,
Yes,
hey, I'm interested.
I also found Josiah on Instagram. I really like his work, and then I liked a lot of things, and I DM'd, and then I scheduled a phone call.
From there. Jeannine, have you ever done that?
Yeah, I reached out to artists on Instagram. It's an easy way. It's the one problem with that is that sometimes I don't remember if it was Instagram or my Gmail or, where the
Right.
conversation started. So sometimes it's a matter of like finding that conversation again. But yeah, I have.
I think I've done it a few times. It's not my main way of contacting artists, but I think I've done it a few times. But since you all are doing it, I'll give it a little bit more of an open mind.
But also just stay in the community. So all my Instagram friends and a lot of followers, we really like look at each other's stories to keep up with each other all the time. So just being in the circle, like social media circle, that also helps. It gives you a sense of community as well. People supporting each other, people reposting each other's shows, each other's like, country, I don't know, like some achievements. I think that's also like a very important thing on social media. I think Josiah has like a lot to actually contribute on this topic. I really like a lot of the things Josiah's been posting on his story, and then a lot of really brilliant artists.
Generosity.
Yeah. Yes, generosity. I think also, sharing posts on your story is, such an easy way to share with your followers other artists or other spaces that you support and really like. And so I think all these little ways of engaging on Instagram, like sharing, liking stories, like commenting on stories, liking posts, commenting on posts. I think these are all great ways of kind of like, if you are an artist and you're trying to, you're following this gallery and you love their work and you love their program, maybe, just sending them a direct message might be a little like too forward. And, that can, we were just talking about cold calling and how, maybe isn't always the most appropriate way for an artist to engage with the gallery. But I've found that, following them, commenting on their stories, liking their posts, just, these are just little ways of kind of getting a gallery maybe to notice you. And if you share a lot of followers, I think, of course, meeting the gallerist in person and going to the shows in person is definitely ideal. But for a lot of artists who, are maybe not in like a art world hub like New York or LA or Chicago, I think social media is a great way. That's a great way to begin to like, I guess, court galleries.
I completely agree, Josiah. And so many of us have met people in real life that we have communicated with online for quite a long time. And reaching out and commenting is great. Just make sure it's genuine, right? Generosity and being genuine. And then people can get a sense of who you are and it's inviting. All right, we have a few more questions. So let me go here. So I have a comment here. I'd love to hear the panelists talk about the qualities of the video an artist makes for reels. I find the editing a bit overwhelming. I can say I'm not quite even up to so much editing, so I can't comment that much on that. But does anybody else have any commenting on editing videos?
There is this app called CapCut.
Oh, I have that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have like these templates that online other people post. You can just upload your own thing and using their own templates or like the cuts. So it's definitely a lot easier, but I agree, like editing videos at in the beginning could be overwhelming. I feel like maybe using the templates and using that like different apps to help you, definitely a lot easier. But definitely the learning curves on this, I would say like just take time and slowly you'll get the hang of it.
Jeannine, do you do any editing on videos for reels?
Not too much. I try to take a really I don't, the editing is not that great for me either. I will cut and I'll just choose a small spot, you know, that I think is interesting. I don't put up too many reels, but it is because it is hard to do sometimes for me too.
Yeah. Okay, so I would like to mention a method by an artist that was very successful. Babs, can you tell us you want to tell us about a method by an artist that was very successful?
Yeah, he started a few years ago and decided to do every day. He would get on in the morning and do a quick little bit of him painting, and he did it consistently and he just kept doing it. And he built something like 40,000 followers or some insane thing and he would do this little running thing. So today I got the and it's that idea where you're showing yourself. And I'm working on this thing and I couldn't quite figure it out. And then he would kind of laugh and then he would end it. And it was very short. And he ended up getting a gallery showing his work out in Denver, Colorado. But it was this idea of he picked a specific method of like, I'm going to do this little bit every day, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever, and just show my face. And he started just getting more and more followers and it worked for him. So it was a different sort of crazy method. And I think the hardest thing for most people, and I know it's for me, is that getting it done, getting it out there, doing it, because it gets like, I got to put something on there. I got to keep this up. And I think somebody else was saying, Josiah was saying about the interaction. It's a big deal to interact with people. I have met a ton of people through Instagram and it's been fascinating. It works. It definitely works. Anyway,
Thank
that's fine.
Yeah, Babs, I think I know who you're talking about. I'll have to ask you later.
Okay.
Okay, are your galleries using submission requests to get people by using Instagram? What does that mean? Oh, are we accepting submissions from people on Instagram? I think that's what you're asking. No, I ask people to send me a submission through a certain email address so that I can keep them all organized for myself. Jeannine and Sophie, what do you do?
Yeah, usually it's after connecting with the person and talking about things. It's not just sometimes someone will. It doesn't come through Instagram though. It's usually an email.
Definitely. Emails definitely when we get serious.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, let's see. For all panelists, likes on Instagram are not sales. How do you transform Instagram presence into sales? For Jeannine, would you comment on the role of Stand4 in the community, since you also provide studio space for guest artists and also the role of guest curators? Okay, let's start with the likes on Instagram are not sales. How do you transform Instagram presence into sales? Who wants to start that? Sophie, would you like to start that?
Slowly work on your Instagram and then really like use your brain, or is there a better way to say it, to really think when you follow somebody to see who they know and are they a real collectors, who they collect, and then slowly, you know, build personal connection with them. And then they probably will come to your gallery at some point and then make a really nice impression and show them that you can bring out consistent, really good programs. And then at some point they will reach out. So for me, I'm not super aggressive on sales, but I sometimes just keep doing what we do, and good artists, good paintings, good artworks, and then, you know, stay connected with the collectors or people are interested, seriously interested in what you do. And then I will keep posting like on stories or Instagram posts, and then like slowly people will just be like, oh, send me this PDF. Oh, I'm really interested in this artist. If you have more, or if you have shows, let me know. And then I will collect their emails and then make a, you know, a note of it. They like so and so artists, and they are interested in certain kind of work. And then also slowly you'll see there is a circle of people constantly like interested in works. They're active collectors, or they're collector, they will share things to people that could buy. And then you'll kind of get the picture, Yeah.
It's relationships, right, Sophie?
Yes,
Develop
it's really all about people, this business, and this like being artists as well. It's people to people, and be personal and just be honest and be genuine, and then keep putting out programs that will attract more artists and more like visitors or more friends. I think that's the key, actually. I guess for us, like a smaller scale gallery, this is how I like my take on this.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
at drawing, you have someone just wants to buy something in the gallery or maybe something online, and other times it's a relationship that develops. Just because it doesn't happen immediately doesn't mean it's not going to. And as Sophie mentioned too, we also use Artsy. And I think there's a good connection between Instagram and Artsy. And collectors and artists want to get to know us on social media, know who we are, what we do. And Artsy, there's a relationship there. Jeannine, can you say anything about this?
Yeah, for me, it's a little different and more challenging because my space is a community space, and it's really kind of more of a project space. So it's a lot of times the work that's up is will be about ideas and stuff. So it'll be like it might be a harder sell than like a show of paintings or something like that. So that's where it's, so I wouldn't say Instagram. Instagram gets people into the gallery, maybe connecting them to the artist. And yeah, you can follow somebody or maybe highlight the artist. So it's a little harder for me on that in that way. And I think that like answering Klaus's second question is it like for what I'm doing as a community space. I do have 3 studio spaces. There's 4 artists working at Stand4. 3 of them rent a sublet from me, and I work as well in the basement. So I share the basement with somebody. So there's 4 of us working there. So it's an active space. And then I will have guest curators come in to you know, to use the space. The space is one of these. It's a quirky space. It has an unusual footprint. So a lot of times people will come in, like artists will come in and really transform the space. It's like a lot of times it becomes more of an installation than it becomes an art show, you know. So that's pretty, and each time it's very different. So it transforms all the time with the way that a curator can come in and see the space, or an artist that comes in, like the artist that was there recently, Stephanie Garin. She brought her work in and created this installation with her objects, and they can transform the space as well. So that's why it's a little hard. The sales thing is a little bit of a harder thing on Instagram, like to show what's happening in the gallery. It's more of like to tell people to come in and see it, you know.
Jeannine, are you still working towards becoming a nonprofit?
I am, and I'm getting closer and closer.
Good. Drawing Rooms is a nonprofit. And I bring this up because I think of our funders as clients also. Right? So, I mean, you know, that's part of the picture of it's just in our minds. Okay, so let's
So
next.
can I quickly just share the like the outlets real quick?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so these are like, we also have these WeChat thing for Chinese audience, and we have Instagram. This is like the key thing. And then like I guess having a like just a standby, always up-to-date website is very important to just really have the atmosphere of you know, you're really active, you're on top of everything. So when anyone from like different platform see you, and they will check other things, and you're like all on tip-top shape, I think that's the point that people are more convinced.
Yeah. Doug made a comment. It's a question, actually. I want to read it. And I agree. Do you find, I do, he says, that other artists can be great collectors of your work, not just collectors, but artists as collectors? Definitely, definitely, definitely. Sophie?
Artists, some of the artists are our big clients. They really appreciate different artists, and they have I think the best taste, in my opinion. And then they like, sometimes we will even give artists collector discount, because I know they really just wanted to support. For us, we don't really wanted to screen collectors like blue chip galleries. We like to have this community, people, artists support artists situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
can I just say one thing on
Yes,
that? I
please.
think I definitely do agree as well. I think as an artist, you know, I don't have a lot of work, but I have bought some pieces that you know, I think as an artist, you're buying work that you truly really love and you want to live with to some capacity. And so I think like, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of us can relate to this as artists, is that, you know, when we create work and when we make our work, and we think about somebody else owning that work, I guess I can only speak personally, but, you know, I think my only qualification for the collector or whoever is acquiring the work is that, you know, they're absolutely in love with it and that it resonates with them, and that, you know, they really want to exist and live with that work and have that work be in their home. So I think, you know, and I think that's something that artists definitely, you know, they know how to do. They love art for what it is. But yeah.
Great, thanks. The next question is, have we ever use social media to solicit information? For example, gauging feedback on visitors' experience or what they're most interested in. Any suggestions on how to best do this? For example, social media stories, polls, or questions. So do you mean that when people like things that we then, that then affects work we may choose? Or I'm not sure where the question's going. Sophie or Jeannine, do you understand?
I think it's like using social media to get information on almost like a poll. Yeah, like story polls or questions. Yeah. I would not use my social media that way. I um I think I like I think what we were talking about all night is having connections with people and having relationships with people, and even on social media. And I get a lot of feedback from just people that come or people that see something, and kind of a back and forth there. I get a lot of feedback that way, but it's not something I would put out there to find out more. It would be, I don't know, I wouldn't do that. That's something I wouldn't do.
It would be like Amazon.
Same,
Yeah,
same.
maybe, yeah, a little
Terrible
less personal.
idea. Terrible
Mm.
idea.
Yeah, I think I would want people to also think I know what I'm doing. But I will seek personal connection, like personal questions on certain people to get maybe some feedbacks. But in general, probably sometimes I will even use my personal Instagram account to do like a close friend poll. But on the gallery's account, I wouldn't just gather mass like I guess feedbacks on things in general.
Okay, I think it's getting close to the end, so I just want to ask one last question. Maybe we could talk a little bit about, do any of us do art fairs? How do we make that happen? Sophie, you want to start?
I do art fairs, but we don't, like, as a smaller gallery, like financial side, we can't really afford all of them. So we're in New York, so I guess we don't want to do New York fairs because we already have a space that is not far from the art fairs. But we try to do a Miami more often. We did New Art Dealers, not Miami last year, and then I was thinking about Untitled this year, but it's gonna be like a major spending on the gallery side. So we will take like baby steps, one step at a time.
Yeah, and Drawing Rooms hasn't done an art fair yet, but we are thinking about it, and may happen for next year or the year after. And Miami always sounds exciting. That wouldn't be our first step, but maybe we start with a more local but very specific art fair, and maybe then we look towards possibly something in Miami at some point. Jeannine, what do you think? And then Josiah, if you want about art fairs.
Yeah, I haven't been thinking of art fairs at all. I'm more focused on like public works and getting stand out into the public, like, bringing the works and artists of stand out physically into the public space. So that's where like a lot of my energy goes, or how I'm going to do that.
Actually, Josiah had work in art fairs before. We have common friends or common collectors mentioned Josiah's work to me many times. She saw you in Ibiza art fair, right?
Yeah, so I was able to do an art fair in Ibiza. It was called Cannes Art Fair. I think it was 2021. But I mean, I think speaking from the perspective of an artist, I think art fairs, a lot of people have different opinions about art fairs, but I think, specifically thinking about marketing, art fairs is kind of like the pinnacle of like marketing, where, your work you're put in a space where it's able to be seen by, a lot more people, a lot of collectors, a lot of gallerists, a lot of other artists. So yeah, I've been able to do a couple art fairs. Most of them international art fairs. I'll be doing an art fair in Beijing, actually, I think at the end of May. So art fairs, I guess, yeah, they're an exciting way to, again, it's always about like, I feel like broadening your network and just connecting with more people.
Yeah, I highly recommend people to join art fairs. If you get a chance, it's definitely very fun to see how the art world works in certain kind of areas and different artworks, and how the galleries approach on selling or meeting the collectors and so on.
Thank you. I think I'm going to wrap up now, and I want to thank Josiah and Sophie and Jeannine for being so generous in sharing all this information, and for all the people who attended and everybody who asked questions. I think we all learned something.
Yes,
So-
I want to thank the panelists for sharing their knowledge and experience. It's been fascinating. I think my takeaway is how the personal touch, how important it is to overcome the fact that you're not connecting in person. And the ways in which you're doing it is fascinating, and how important it is. Terrific. And I think the fact that there were so many questions and comments showed how stimulated people were by all that you shared. So, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight, and hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.